Okay, today we're going to do this. Had to shut the door. So today we are solving equations, like real ones, that have stuff in the denominator. This is not like what we did yesterday because this is not a fraction equal to a fraction. It's a fraction equal to a whole bunch of fractions. And you can't do proportions like we did yesterday unless it's just one fraction equal to one fraction. So there is no cross multiplying we're going to be doing today. Instead, we're going to show you a trick. So here's the key. We want to get a common denominator all the way across. That way, all our denominators will go away and we won't have any more fractions because nobody wants fractions. Do you really want fractions? No, of course you don't want fractions. Nobody wants fractions. So up here, when you look across, my denominator here is, of course, x plus 5. My denominator there is a 1. My denominator there is x plus 5. Now, when I look and I want to get a common denominator, you can obviously see that my common denominator is going to be x plus 5. So now I need to rewrite all of this so that everything has a denominator of x plus 5. When I rewrite this one, it already had an x plus 5 down there, so I didn't have to do anything to it to make it an x plus 5 on the bottom, so it'll stay just like it is on the top. This one does not have an x plus 5. So in order for me to get that x plus 5 on the bottom, I have to multiply the top and the bottom by x plus 5, just like we did when we were doing the adding stuff. So on top, that's going to give me 3x plus 15, because I go ahead and distribute it. And then I don't have to do anything to this one. Now, my nose itches. Okay, so if this is x plus 5 on this side, and this is x plus 5, and that is x plus 5, that means that if I wanted to, I could combine these two and get just one x plus 5 on the bottom, right? Which would mean I'd have something like x plus 5 on this bottom and x plus 5 on that bottom. And since both bottoms are exactly the same, that means that whatever x is, it's going to be exactly the same regardless. So it doesn't matter. Which basically means once you have the same denominator all the way across, our denominators just disappear. They don't matter anymore. All we care about are the numerators. So I'm going to go ahead and write my numerators now. So I have x is equal to 3x plus 15 minus 5. Well, when I go to solve this, I can subtract 3x from both sides. That gives me negative 2x over here. Go ahead and combining those together, I get a 10. Divide by negative 2, x is equal to negative 5. Right? We did it right. This is correct. We didn't do anything wrong. But if I take this and I plug it in up here, negative 5 plus 5 gives me a 0 on the bottom, which means this is the one thing it cannot be. So since nothing worked, that means the answer to this is no solution. And whenever we have no solution, you don't have to write it all the way out. You can do the sign for it. Just make sure you box it. But the trick will always work, where you get rid of all your denominators. It always works. Now, the reason that works, this is the hard part, the reason that works is because of that equal sign. If we didn't have an equal sign in there, none of that works. But we do, so we'll use it. Okay. Let's get you to try some. I did number 8. Let's have you try number 16. Go ahead, try it. Pause it. Hold my nerve. Okay, when you have to find your common denominator, remember it's got to be able to hold all these denominators in it. So it's got to have a 3 in it, it's got to have a t in it, it's got to have a 2 in it, it's got to have a 4 in there somewhere. So 3t times 2 is a 6t. 4 doesn't go into 6, but 12. 4 goes into 12, 2 goes into 12, 3 goes into 12. I bet it's 12t. So I go ahead and write 12t on all my bottoms. Then you have to go back. What times 3t gives you 12t? 4. We've already multiplied the bottom times 4, so I got to multiply the top times 4. Makes that an 8. This one had to be multiplied by 6t. So I'll multiply the top by 6t. That makes that 6t. This one had to be multiplied times 3, so I'll multiply the top times 3. That makes that a 9. Now that I have the same thing all the way across the bottom, it's gone. So now I'm left with 8 plus 6t is equal to 9. Six t is equal to 1. T is equal to 1 over 6. If I put 1 over 6 up here, 3 times 1 over 6 gives me 3 over 6. 3 over 6 reduces down to 1/2. Still good. If I put 1 over 6 up here, that gives me 4 over 6. Reduces down to 2/3. Still good. So 1 over 6 is my answer. Okay, let's have you try number 18. That's all you. All of it, work on it. Okay. This was a 1, which makes my common denominator equal to 3v, which means I need to multiply that by 3. Need to multiply that by nothing. Need to multiply this by 3nv. So over here, I would get 3v plus 6 plus that gets multiplied by nothing equals 33v. Now I could have written the 3v, the 3v, and the 3v, but I knew I was getting ready to mark those out anyway, so I'm not even going to bother writing them. So that gives me 3v plus 10 is equal to 33v. I'm just going to move out over there. I know it's not what you're used to, but it's going to happen. Divide both sides by 30. V is equal to 1 over 3. Now, if I stick 1 over 3 up there, we're all good. But if I put 1 over 3 up here, then I end up with 3 over 3, which is 1. It's okay to have 1 on the bottom. It's not okay to have 0 on the bottom. So this is all good. Okay. Number 26. this one. Go ahead and try it. Pause the tape, try it. Okay. Now I'm not sure what you did, but I have to show it to you 2 different ways. And either way is fine for you to do, but I have to show it 2 different ways because I have to prove a point. So for way number 1, I'm going to do it in pink. I kind of hope this is the way that you did it, although I don't know that it is. I kind of hope that you said, hey, look, it's a fraction equal to a fraction. I can use my cross multiply trick. So I kind of hope that you went ahead and did this. And you said 4 times c plus 3 has to equal 3c times c minus 4. And then on this side, you would have said 4c plus 12 equals 3c squared minus 12c. And then you would have said, oh, we have a square. So that means I got to get everything on one side equal to 0. So that's going to be 3c squared minus 12c minus 4c minus 12 minus 16c minus 12. Don't have a GCF, unfortunately. So we're going to do trial and error. 3c and c, 12, still feeling 4 and 3, although I don't think that's right. It's not. Did it in my head. So 6 and 2. 2 here and a 6 here. I need it to be a negative, so negative 18 and a positive 2 is what gives me a negative 16. So these are my 2 choices, which means 0 is equal to 3c plus 2, or 0 is equal to c minus 6. This one's easier, plus 6 and plus 6. C is equal to 6. I know I've wrote it backwards, but you know. Or over here, minus 2 and minus 2, which gives me negative 2 is equal to 3c divided by 3 divided by 3. C is equal to negative 2 over 3. Those are the 2 things I got, but we still have to come back up here and check and make sure it's okay. So negative 2 over 3 minus 4 doesn't give me 0. I don't really care what it gives me, but it's not a 0, and that's what matters. 6 minus 4 doesn't give me a 0, so they're both good okay for this one. But for this one, negative 2 over 3 plus 3, that's not 0. 6 plus 3, definitely not 0, so those 2 are good. Now, that's one way of doing it, cross multiply. Could do that because it was a proportion. But if you didn't notice that it was a proportion, you could still do it the way we were talking about. So if it's 4 over c minus 4 is equal to 3c over c plus 3. My common denominator is going to have to be c minus 4 times c plus 3. Both of them, because it's got to have both things in it. So on this side, I would have that, and on this side, I would end up with that. Now before I didn't show you all these steps, but I want to make sure you followed through with everything in your mind, even though you don't always write them. So that's the common denominator. What times this gives me that? Well, it's the c plus 3. So that means that's the top that I need to multiply by c plus 3. Over here, what's missing from there? Well, it's the c minus 4. So I need to multiply c minus 4 times the top. Now my denominators go away, and that leaves me with 4 times c plus 3 equals 3c times c minus 4. They look the exact same thing. That's why this stuff works. So if you get to there this way, or if you get to here and decide to do it that way, either way, you're always going to end up at the same spot, and you're going to be okay. But I needed you to see this over here, because usually when you're doing these, you're going to have 2, possibly 3 different factors down here that look like that. So I wanted you to see them look like that and how we would handle it, and how it doesn't matter. It's still going to give you an equation you know how to work on top. One more problem I want us to look at is number 36. All this time I'm erasing the board. You could be working problem number 36. Just saying, you got the book too. Yeah, I'm going to need all that space. Number 36. U over 2u minus 2 plus u plus 1 over 2u plus 1 equals negative 3u over 2u squared minus u minus 1. Just making sure I copied it right. Okay. Don't know that you're ready to work on this one by yourself. All right. Before we can find a LCD for the bottom, I need to go ahead and factor this one, because we don't know what our factors are. So I can't just say that it's this times this. I need to factor it. So I'm going to go ahead and do my skeleton. 2u and u. 2 things that multiply together to give me 1, 1 and 1. They've got to subtract to give me 1. So that would be a negative 2, and a positive 1 gives me a negative 1 left. So this is that thing factored. Now, this one isn't factored yet either. So I can factor this by taking a 2 out, and that leaves me with u minus 1. So when I go to find the LCD, or the common denominator, remember it has to have all of these things inside of it. So I know I'm going to have the 2 times the u minus 1, plus I've got to have a 2u plus 1. But this already has a 2u plus 1 in it, and it already has a u minus 1 in it. So this is my LCD. So now when I go to rewrite it, all I have to do is see what's different from my LCD. I'm not even going to write this down. We're just going to look at it up here and say what's different and write it up there. So the difference from this to that is that 2u plus 1. So that's what I need to multiply by up here. From here to here, I have a whole 2 times u minus 1. And from there to here, the only thing I'm missing is a 2. So I need to multiply the top times 2. So now I need to go work on my multiplication. U times 2u is 2u squared, plus u times 1 is u, plus, and this is some numbers. I'm trying to think of the fastest way to do it. I'm going to go ahead and multiply these two together to get my 2u minus 2. So now I'm going to multiply my u plus 1 times 2u minus 2. U times 2u is 2u squared. U times negative 2 is negative 2u. 1 times 2u is plus 2u. And 1 times negative 2 is minus 2. Equals, because there's an equal sign. Negative 3u times 2 is negative 6u. Oof, that's some work. So 2u squared plus 2u squared gives us 4u squared. Got them taken care of. Positive u, these two cancel each other out. That's plus u minus 2 is equal to negative 6u. Now, because I got the square, I need to move this over here. So 4u squared negative 6u comes over and makes that positive 6u, and u plus 6u is 7u, minus 2 is equal to 0. Oof. No GCF, unfortunately. So I just saw what it was. I don't think I can get it any other way. So 4u and u and 1 and 2. That'll give me 8u. So it needs to be a positive, which means that's a minus 1u to give me a positive 7u. I just saw it in my head. I was going to try something else until I saw it. It just flashed. Okay. So that means that either 4u minus 1 is equal to 0. So u is equal to 1 over 4. Or u plus 2 is equal to 0. So u is equal to negative 2. 1 over 4, we can have here. 2 times 1 over 4 is 2 over 4. That's 1/2. Doesn't give me a 0. That would be a 1/2. Doesn't give me a 0. Over here, one fourth squared is 1 over 16. That's a funky thing. Minus a 1/4, something like 3/4-ish. Whatever, it ain't going to give me a 0. You could also plug it in down here. 1 and 1/2 times negative 1 3/4 doesn't give you a 0. But plugging in the negative 2, we might need to be careful about. So if I put a negative 2 here, that's a negative 4 and a negative 2 is not going to be a 0. Plugging in a negative 2 here, negative 4 plus 1, not 0. Plugging in a negative 2 here gives me a positive 4 times 2 is 8. Minus a negative 2 is the same thing as plus. That's going to be 10 minus 1, not 0. So these are both good. Oof, that's a lot of work. They're very important problems, which is why you have so many of them for homework. Looking on page 352. Numbers 3, 13, 23, and 33. Homework is a different story. Numbers 5, 9, 15, 19, 25, 29, and 35. I need you to practice this stuff. Whenever we do solving equations, you always have to practice a lot because that's what most of algebra is, solving equations. Now, we are going to finish what little bit of stuff we have left to do in this chapter during the next section. In the next section, I'm going to cover sections 8.10 because there's only one kind of word problem you need to know there. The one kind of word problem you need to know from 10.4 and the one kind of word problem you need to know from 10.5 because you can do all those in one section. It will be a piece of cake. I got 3 different kinds of word problems to show you. Then we finish this chapter. When we're done with this chapter, you have a review that your mom has that you'll be able to do. You have a test that your mom has that you'll be able to do. And that'll be the end. I'm so tired. I definitely have low iron right now. Okay, so you need to go ahead and work on your classwork now. And then you can do your homework later. Do not blow this off. Don't put this off till the next day. You really need to make sure you get this today. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye. No, really?